Okay, so I will call the WSESD board meeting to order at 6:01. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to meet with us once again. The meeting of the WSESD will come to order. This meeting is a hybrid meeting, which means that some or all of the public body is meeting remotely and some are meeting physically in a previously noticed location where the public may attend to observe, listen, and participate contemporaneously. Please note that while we will strive to provide means for those attending remotely to participate in the public comment period, there may be technical difficulties or reasons that otherwise prevent or interrupt remote public participation. Therefore, it is important to note that the open meeting law only ensures the public's right to participate and comment at a public meeting by attending at the designated physical location as posted in the notice and agenda. If a member of the public or the public body has technical difficulties accessing this meeting remotely, please alert us by email. In the event of a technical difficulty that cannot be resolved, we may continue the meeting if necessary to time and place certain. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting that are not unanimous will be done by roll call vote in accordance with the law. So the first item on the agenda is under unfinished business is board representation Brattleboro. So the expectation is that we will enter into the Brattleboro Select Board's meeting at 6:25, 6:30, somewhere around there, with the understanding that there may be some sort of need to address technical things getting into their meeting, etc. And then the SD board will hear the consultation from the Brattleboro Select Board on the 3 candidates who have submitted their interest for the current vacancy on the SD board. After we have the consultation from the Brattleboro Select Board, then we will exit their meeting and we will go into executive session to discuss the candidates and the consultation from the Brattleboro Select Board, and then we will come out into open session and we will have a vote and explain our reason. So I do have a little bit of an outline on the process that I went through. If we get close to the time, I don't want to miss it. So
keeping an eye on.
Okay,
They
thank
haven't
you
started
very
the
much.
Meeting yet, so.
okay, thank you. So I just want to say, I wrote this full accounting of the many hours of work involved in filling the seat so future chairs have a written account of the requirements and the challenges which might occur. I have not avoided discussing this in open meeting out of a lack of transparency, but out of a desire to use our meeting time and our administrator time effectively to serve our students. Upon notification of the vacancy, I contacted actually, before I finish here, I should ask for a motion to, can I still make a motion to amend the agenda to add an executive session at the end?
Yeah.
So I will make the motion to amend the agenda to have a hopefully very brief executive session at the end of the meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. So Wendy, that was me, and then that was Tim. All those in favor of having a very brief executive session at the end of the meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Who's online?
Emily.
Board members Lana and Liz
And
and
Michelle.
Emily
And Michelle.
Okay.
and Michelle just on. Okay.
Okay, great.
And Michelle.
Upon notification of the vacancy, I contacted the WSESD board's attorney for guidance. I also received guidance from the VSBA and others who managed a chair vacancy in a merged district. All parties agreed the procedure is, with regard to the Brattleboro Select Board, is within 30 days after providing notice and after consultation with the Select Board, the Unified Union School District Board shall appoint an eligible person to fill the vacancy until the voters elect a successor at an annual or special meeting. I followed a process based on the information, guidance, and legal advice. I was told that the Brattleboro Select Board's consultation would be in person or could be in person or in writing or email. And the Select Board consults, but the SD Board is responsible for making the decision. The 30-day process started on October 22nd, 2022, which gave a deadline of November 21st, 2022 for the SD Board to appoint. I warned appointment of a Brattleboro representative to the SD Board to the for the SD Board meeting to be held on 10/25/2022 for discussion. At that meeting, I understood that the Brattleboro Select Board could provide their consultation by attending the next SD Board meeting or by email for the SD Board's consideration at the November 8th, 2022 meeting. The next SD Board meeting would have been on November 22nd, which would have been beyond the 30-day deadline. Based on the requirements, the Brattleboro Select Board was notified on October 25th, 2022, indicating that the vacancy would be advertised with the letters of interest sent to me as the board chair. On October 26, 2022, the Brattleboro Select Board chair confirmed receipt of this email and indicated that he anticipated the Select Board will take this matter of consultation up at its second meeting in November if that aligns with your deadline for receiving letters of interest. Please let me know if that schedule doesn't work for your deadline, and we will make sure to adjust our schedule to accommodate. On November 1st, 2022, I sent an email to the candidates who had to that point submitted an indication that they were interested in filling the vacancy to confirm their interest had been received. I emailed the Brattleboro Select Board chair on November 3rd, 2022, and notified the chair that we expected to vote on the seat at the November 8th SD Board meeting. In my email, I invited the Brattleboro Select Board to participate in the executive session to be held on November 8th prior to the SD Board voting. I asked for the chair to let me know if Brattleboro Select Board wished to participate and if the Brattleboro Select Board members had time constraints so that I could schedule the executive session to accommodate the Brattleboro Select Board's members' schedules. November 3rd, I received an email from the Brattleboro Select Board's attorney indicating the Select Board was putting it on their agenda for an upcoming meeting.
Oh my God.
Then no date was given for the upcoming meeting. On November 4th, the Brattleboro Select Board chair left me a voicemail in which he indicated that he appreciated the school board's schedule with a statutory deadline. 11/4/22 was also the deadline for the letters of interest intent, and those were forwarded separately to the school board, SD Board members, and to the Brattleboro Select Board chair on November 5th. The Brattleboro Select Board chair called me again on November 6th, and we discussed the SD Board's timeline and the offer for the Brattleboro Select Board to appear for part of the executive session for the consultation requirement. He explained that the Brattleboro Select Board had decided not to meet on November 8th, as some of the Brattleboro Select Board members were poll workers or had other commitments, as it was election day, you may remember. So the Brattleboro Select Board would not meet on November 8th with the SD Board. The Brattleboro Select Board chair said the issue would be on the agenda for the November 15th Brattleboro Select Board meeting, and that the school district board could come to the meeting to consult with the Brattleboro Select Board. I reiterated to the Brattleboro Select Board chair that the SD Board's deadline, that the SD Board would not meet again before that deadline, and that the Brattleboro Select Board could consult by email. The Brattleboro Select Board chair asked if the Brattleboro Select Board members could participate in the executive session on November 8th by Zoom, and I agreed that would be helpful. The Brattleboro Select Board chair then indicated he would reach out to that board's attorney, and I told him I would contact this board's attorney to see if that could be worked out. Based upon that 11 November 6th conversation, I believed the SD board would still be able to fill the seat on November. On November 7th, I received an email from the Brattleboro Select Board's attorney insisting the SD board accommodate the Brattleboro Select Board schedule. Despite the SD board's deadline, meeting schedule, and the conversation I'd had the previous day with the Brattleboro Select Board chair. I sought further legal assistance on both November 7th and 8th, which confirmed my understanding that if the Brattleboro Select Board had provided the consultation by email or participated in the executive session, the vote could be taken, and a Brattleboro representative to the SD board for the rest of the current term could have been appointed. However, the Brattleboro Select Board did not send email consultation to the SD board prior to the 11/8 SD board meeting if they were unable to attend the executive session, and no members attended the executive session. I only bring this to the board and to the public's attention so that it's very clear the timeline of and the complexity of this process, and that there were a lot of moving parts to this from both boards. I acknowledge from both boards. Okay, I was disappointed that we did not proceed on November 8th. This postponement has caused delay in school board representation by a Brattleboro resident on the school board. We also delayed our SD board vote for the vacant vice chair seat and vacant position on the SU board. This ultimately also affected the SU board regarding the vacant SD board representation in the board chairs positions. While we could have proceeded with a vote on the vice chair and the SU positions on November 8th, we left the seats vacant to respect the residents of Brattleboro in assuring they have all possible candidates at the table. The delay in filling these critical positions slows down the work of both school boards during a time when the boards are managing many challenges during budgeting season. It will be challenging to bring the new boards up to speed, with the delay making a bigger challenge. I have to assume that this delay also felt unfair to candidates, as they were prepared to make statements to the board, answer questions, and move forward. So to the candidates, I offer my sincere apology. I did everything I could to assure the board followed proper process and that the resident seat from Brattleboro was filled quickly. I offered multiple options as allowed by the statute for this consultation to occur as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, despite my efforts, this did not happen at that meeting. That brings us to the current meeting, where the expectation is we will fulfill the requirement for the consultation with the Brattleboro Select Board when we enter their meeting at approximately 6:40, 6:25, 6:30. And they have graciously agreed to move the issue of the selection to the beginning of the meeting. So I will thank them when we enter their meeting, but I thank them again for being willing to accommodate us. I don't know if any of the board members, I'll do board members first. Okay.
A non-board member has a hand up.
Do any of the board members have any questions that they or comment? Okay.
I would just like to say thank you for your huge effort to get this done as quickly as you did. I know it was a big, there's a lot of negotiation with the Brattleboro Select Board, so we appreciate it.
Well, I'm hopeful that maybe I can reduce this to an actual like step-by-step or something. So in the event that this happens again, that so thank you.
Virginia Ray and then Jamie Conqueror.
Okay.
Virginia, you're up.
Thank you. My question is, would you please state the reason for the executive session that you amended the agenda to include?
Sure, I am happy to do that. The executive session will be under 313A1E, pending or probable civil litigation or prosecution to which the public body is or may be a party. I should also mention that as a it's actually on the agenda, the executive session that we will go into as a result of this current process.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jamie.
Hi, Jamie Contois, Putney. Callie, being in that position, I just wanted to honor the work and the extra time, all that takes while you're working and doing everything else. So thank you for your labor. And also wanted to just ask a question. I'm curious because no longer do members of the 10-member merged board represent a town. Now you're appointed from a town to represent all towns. So why does the statute still read after the merger that only a single town's select board will be consulted if the person appointed from Brattleboro will represent Putney, Guilford, Dummerston, and Brattleboro? Do we know that, or has anyone researched it?
I do not know. That's a very good question, but it is something that that I'm prepared to state clarify when both boards are we have our combined meeting. It's something that I intend to sort of make a statement about. But as to why, I'm not sure. I would, if you find the answer, I would love to hear it.
I think I might do some outreach to our legislative folks to update statute. Is that a legislative process, or what is that?
It is. This is a recently updated statute, however.
Huh. So
That's when-
strange. It
when
seems, it doesn't make sense based on our new merged. I don't understand that.
Jamie, in thinking about what could have been the motivation, the only thing I can think of is that since it is only, it's consultation, it's not, the board makes the decision, but perhaps the thinking is that the select board may have a more intimate knowledge of who these people are, as in maybe they work in the town, maybe there are people on the select board who have known them, or maybe something of that nature, so they could then provide some insight into the candidates that someone who maybe someone in another town may not. We are a small enough community that I think probably most people know the three candidates, or probably a good portion of people know them, but maybe that's the thinking. Okay, sure.
Michelle has a hand.
Michelle.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw out a theory also, because I don't have the answer to that. And I did read through the legislation. But I wonder if it's not motivated because to be a candidate typically still requires your immediate community from your town to sign off on a petition, a certain amount of voters to be put on the ballot. So I'm just wondering if that's what they're thinking about, that the town still put forward the candidate. And that's what makes sense to me. But just a theory, but that's what I thought about that question too. It's a good question.
That's a good thought, Michelle. Thank you for that.
Hey, Jody has a hand up. Or is it, because she's in both meetings.
Jody.
Jody? She's muted. And by the way, they are meeting. We
I
can
got
listen in anytime.
Thanks, Judy.
Okay, Jody, it's your turn.
Okay, I didn't know this is public comment or not, but I would comment. I am concerned about one of the candidates used their position as a press member, et cetera, to write columns and to have special programs that were not in good favor for the select board, for the school board. So I just would like you to keep that in consideration when you make your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. Did you?
Now I don't know how to mute myself.
I'll mute you.
Okay, thank
We have a few more minutes. Is there anyone else who would like to comment or questions, or Bethany? Oh,
The board member. No, mine isn't specifically related to Hi, mine isn't specifically related to this. It's a non-agenda type thing. Should I wait?
Yeah, at the end, there is a public
Okay.
comment.
That's fine. It's actually just a housekeeping thing for meetings, but I can wait and do it.
Sure, okay, thank you. Sean?
Well, I would just like to say, you know, the towns still have representation. So even though it's a merged board, 2 from every one of them, from Putney, Dummerston and Guilford, and 4 from Brattleboro. So it is beholden on the towns to have some comment if somebody resigns and that person then has to be replaced. So I think it's perfectly appropriate. You know, anecdotally, that's how I came to be on the District 6 board. The Guilford Select Board in consultations asked for letters of interest. And I wrote my letter, and then it was actually the school board that made the appointment. So it's not really that much different, and I think it's perfectly appropriate.
You went through a similar, if I'm not mistaken, you went through a similar process to this, didn't you?
Yeah, except it wasn't a merged board, so it's
Right,
for the District 6 board. But you know, I was the representative from the town of Guilford to the District 6 board, and it seemed perfectly appropriate to me that the town of Guilford should have some specific say in the person that they appoint or suggest the appointment. So it seems perfectly.
How I wound up on the BU6 board too.
Are we ready for that, or are they?
6:22, they're in the middle. We can listen and hear what they're having to say.
The rules of conduct for
Yes.
Board meet.
Yeah.
So in answer to Jamie's question, maybe it needs a legislative question, but at least if it's that town, then that town select board.
It would be
Yes,
that
so
town.
it's a Brattleboro representative, so I guess it
Yes.
makes sense why there's only one board, but if Jamie wants to research, that'd be great.
Listen in.
school board members. After the agenda was set, I was informed that we've got school board members here now, but that they're not going to be able to be here later. So if you look at our warrant agenda, that item is all the way at new business 8H, which, knowing how our meetings have been going, will be pretty late in the evening. And I've learned that that's really not doable for the school board. So I'd like to ask my fellow select board members if you would be okay to actually do that item right now. So before we go through manager comments or anything else, part of that is because I want to allow for public participation and not put any pressure on people to speed up. So we can handle that item, and then we'll go right back to the regularly scheduled agenda with managers' comments. Any thoughts or issues? Liz, I'm getting a thumbs up from you. Also, can we have Liz unmute, please? So, good? Yeah.
Good.
Good, okay, Daniel? Yep. All right, that looks like unanimous to me. All right, so in that case, we're gonna move on to what was warned as new business agenda item 8H, which was consider Wyndham Southeast Supervisory Union School Board appointment. So I'll start for our municipal law nerds out there, myself included. This is kind of a fascinating situation. So under 16 VSA 731, which is a brand new statute effective June 7th, 2022, the school board will make appointments after consultation with the select board. That language is pretty broad, and there's not a lot to define exactly what consultation means. But after consultation with our town attorney, Fisher, the select board felt that that consultation should happen in open meeting, and that's what we're doing now, and that there are members of the school board here to, if they feel like they'd like to speak, then they have the opportunity to. I just want to pass it over to Attorney Fisher now, just to make sure that I didn't miss that or misexplain that in any way.
No, you're absolutely correct. Just remember that the school board is the one making the appointment. All that this select board is doing is consulting or giving consultation to the select board. It's somewhat of an advisory role that you play here, but you don't have any stake in or stake or duty in making the actual appointment. That's the school board's bailiwick.
So, thank you, Bob. So with that, I would just first turn it over to see if Kelly or if there's any school board member on there who wants to raise their hand. Or is it Paul Smith?
Go ahead, Kelly, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Ian, and thank you, Attorney Fisher, and all the select board members for being willing to accommodate us on this. It's important to note that the reason the Brattleboro Select Board is only in consultation is that the position would normally be decided by all the voters in all the towns of Brattleboro, Dummerston, Guilford, and Putney. It is an at-large position. On the school board, the voters of all towns are represented by the board members, with each town's residency requirement to represent all the constituents of the entire district. On the select board, they are elected to represent Brattleboro. It would be like the Brattleboro Select Board appointing the state senator to fill Nader Hashim or Wendy Harrison's state Senate seat due to one of them vacating the position. Since this is WSESD business, conflict of interest and our code of ethics still apply. The state guidelines for public officials require avoidance of even an appearance of a conflict of interest. As such, please indicate if there is any information or if there is a closer personal relationship or business relationship with any candidate as you provide your consultation. Again, thank you very much for being willing to accommodate us, and we look forward to hearing what insight you might have for us on the three candidates. Thank you.
I'm gonna jump
and was that
with a couple of questions. One, can you hear us okay? Technical questions.
Yes, we can. Can you, because you're all speaking from the same person in Zoom. Can you just identify yourself for the record?
That was me, Kelly Young, the chair.
Okay, great. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
And then do we have, was there someone else who wished to speak?
There's the board. Can you catch our video now?
Yep, I can see your video and we can hear you fine.
Excellent. No, nobody wants to say anything.
Right? It's the full board. I guess it's the full board. Yeah, okay, great.
We have 3 members of our board who are on Zoom as well.
Okay. Did any other member of the school board wish to speak now, or
I think
I'm not seeing anybody.
No, we're ready to hear from you.
Great, and I appreciate Kelly, the point about conflict of interest, and I would just note for our select board that we should be, and we do, indicate that for any item that we talk about. If someone feels that they have a conflict of interest or anything, they should indicate that when we're discussing or voting on something. But I appreciate the reminder. So with that, I open it up to my fellow board members. Tim?
I'll just say that it's a small town, and I know all 3 of these candidates, and I think all 3 are fine applicants.
Thank you, Tim. Liz, I saw your hand.
Yes. First, I want to say that I appreciate this consultation process. It's good for our town and for all the towns in the union. I know some, but not all, 2 out of 3. I appreciate that these candidates have volunteered to serve. We should really recognize that spirit of volunteerism in our town. And I think they're all fine candidates, and I'll leave it to the school board to use their discretion in the appointment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Liz. Other board members? Daniel.
Yep. For me, this statute is very weird. And I wish that consultation had been defined beyond, I mean, anyway, defined in any way that would have been helpful. That's not to the school board, though. That's the state lawmakers. And really, I feel like it's the school board's business to appoint somebody until such a time as the voters then elect somebody. And so I leave it to the school board.
Jess?
Sure. Yeah, I certainly want to echo what everyone else has said. Confidence also in the school board and your making of this decision. I know you've all been facing some very challenging issues this past year. And as a parent of a high schooler at Brattleboro High School, I absolutely want to encourage you in the selection of a candidate who has both experience, communication and listening skills, as well as deep empathy for the process that you guys are going through right now. So that is all I would weigh in on.
Great. Thank you very much, Jess. Is there any other board member have any other thoughts? No. Yeah, I guess yeah, I echo the feelings of my fellow board members. I would take this opportunity to thank the applicants for putting their hat in the ring. And I want to also, you know, I don't ever really speak to the school board. So thank you all for your service. You know, I kind of know what it's like to be on a board as well. And it can be a lot of work and it can be difficult work at times. So thank you very much. And Kelly, thank you for working with me to coordinate this so that we were able to both accurately and effectively follow the statutory language. I know that coordinating two boards can be pretty tricky. I was going to leave that open if the school board wanted to say anything.
Yes, so I wanted to thank you again for working with me to try and get this accomplished. I recognize that last week, if it had been another week, last week being election day, it was challenging. And so, of course, being hopefully getting to be the tail end of COVID, we would of course need another kind of thing thrown in there. And so I guess I would like to just thank you for providing that information. And I would open it up to any other board member who has any questions. Anyone online? Okay. I will just say, I think it was Daniel who indicated that he wished the term consultation had been more clearly defined. And I will say that I appreciate that comment and I agree. And I'm sure that there are many other people who agree as well. So thank you. Unless This
is when we challenge them to a softball game. That's the next thing. That's part of the statute too. Great. Well, I think with that then, there's no vote or anything to take on our end. So yeah, I just thank the school board again, and good luck with the rest of your meeting. And we're gonna get back to ours. Okay, well, good luck with your meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much and
Okay,
have a great evening.
You too.
Bye.
Technology. Like, well, pretty wild.
It worked, right?
All right.
It's a first in mine.
So when we're back to just our board.
Actually, we were in their meeting, not them and us. So.
Okay, so we are just back to our board.
Yeah.
So unless we have any board questions or whatnot, we will. Okay. So I will. I move that the board finds that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or a person involved at a substantial disadvantage. I'm sorry, I apologize. I should have indicated. I move that we go into executive session under 1 VSA I move that we find that going under 1 VSA 313A3, that we find that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or person involved at a substantial disadvantage. Is there a second to my motion to find the premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or a person involved at a substantial disadvantage?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Tim. So all those in favor of the finding as indicated, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so now we will make, I move that we enter executive session under 1 VSA 313A3. The appointment or employment of public officer or employee, provided that the public body shall make a final decision to hire or appoint a public officer or employee in an open meeting and shall explain the reasons for its final decision during open meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Deborah. All those in favor of entering executive session as indicated, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are in executive session at 6:37. We are out of executive session at 7:24. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Can I have a motion to appoint Robin Morgan to fill the vacant seat on the WSESD board?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of appointing Robin Morgan to fill the vacant seat on the WSESD board, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained?
Abstain.
Okay, so we will take a roll call vote. Anne,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Deborah,
Aye.
Sean, oh,
Abstain.
okay. Liz,
Aye.
Emily.
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
And that's,
Lana.
and Lana?
Aye.
Okay, so that is. Michelle voted aye. Michelle, I'm
6 ayes. One abs-
Seven ayes.
seven ayes and one abstention. Okay, you got that all, Tim?
Got it.
Okay. Thank you. This board is both grateful and honored to have 3 candidates who have been willing to step forward. Any one of these candidates shows that they are committed to the mission of the board and the administration to ensure the education, welfare, and safety of every student in the district. We wish to acknowledge this candidate's values, her ability to collaborate. She possesses her conviction and integrity and the spirit of collaboration. We value her as a stakeholder and bridge builder as we move forward. We appreciate these qualities. I do note that this has been a difficult decision, and we certainly did not take this lightly. But I want to again thank all 3 candidates for taking the time to submit their interest and to be willing to step forward and assist the board as we move forward. And so now I think is Robin?
Robin is here
She's
somewhere, I think.
Okay.
I'm
So
here,
I-
Kelly. Thank
Okay.
you.
There we go.
So I
Thank you.
think we have an oath for you to say, but not being here, I'm not sure. Can we put this on?
You could almost do it, read it phrase by phrase and have her repeat it.
Okay, and is that sufficient for your purposes?
Yeah.
We have Ms. Penny Marine here from the Guilford Town Clerk's Office, and I want to especially thank her for showing up here at our meeting to do this. And you will be. Do you want to read that?
I can. Okay, I, Robin Morgan, solemnly swear or affirm that I will be true and faithful to the statute of Vermont, and I will not directly or indirectly do any act or thing injurious to the Constitution or government thereof. So help me God, affirmation under the pains and penalty of perjury. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States. Oh, so help me God, affirmation under the pains and penalties of perjury. So now the oath or affirmation of the office. I, Robin Morgan, solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute my office as Director of the Wyndham Southeast School District Board and will therein do equal right and justice to all persons to the best of my judgment and ability according to law. So help me God, under the pains and penalties of perjury. And then you will need to sign, and are you a Brattleboro, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And then I can notarize.
So do you swear, Robin, are you?
You can swear or affirm.
What is that thing that I'm supposed to say? I just say, I swear.
You solemnly swear or affirm that you'll be true and faithful to the state of Vermont.
I solemnly swear and affirm that I will be true and faithful to the state of Vermont.
And that I will not directly or indirectly
And that I will not directly or indirectly
do any act or thing injurious to the Constitution of government thereof.
injurious to the constitutional government thereof.
So help me God,
So help me God,
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God, under the pains and penalties of perjury.
So help me God, under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Okay, and now we're going to be doing the oath of office. That was the oath of allegiance. I, Robin Morgan, solemnly swear
I, Robin Morgan, solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute my office
that I will faithfully execute my office
as the Director of the Wyndham Southeast School District Board
as the Director of the Wyndham Southeast School District Board,
and will therein do equal right
and will therein do equal right
and justice to all persons
and justice to all persons
to the best of my judgment and ability,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
according to law.
according to law.
So help me God, under the pains and penalties of perjury.
So help me God, under the pains and penalties of perjury.
You've been sworn in.
I feel like I just got married.
So will you sign that?
I
And
will.
then, this will go with Mark and then Robin, would you go to the SU office and sign the form that will already have your notary?
Yeah, I can go there tomorrow morning if that's appropriate.
Okay,
That works.
thank you.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, so we will move on to the second item on the agenda, which is the Brattleboro representative to the WSESU board. Sure.
Congratulations, Robin.
Yes,
From all of us.
congratulations.
Welcome aboard, Robin.
Yes.
Welcome, Robin.
Jamie.
Jamie Comtois Putney. I just wanted to say I really appreciate Robin's service, and as someone who's known her for a long time, I just want to honor her integrity and her thoughtfulness in so many different forums that I have seen her in and been her colleague in. And as somebody who has had opportunity to disagree with Robin, and we have maintained our connection and communication over the years, I want to just honor that that's a really critical skill and to continue that work together. So thank you, Robin, and thank you to the school board for your work. I see your labor and appreciate you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Michelle had her hand up. She put it down.
I just was already had my hand up for the next question, but then we went to public comment. So I
Oh,
put-
Okay, so,
We have another hand.
Elizabeth Burns has a hand up.
okay, very briefly, before we move on to the next item, Elizabeth Burns.
Hi, Liza.
Can't hear you.
You're muted, Liza.
Sorry. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Liza Burns Putney. I'm just hoping that maybe somebody could clarify. I thought I understood that we were going to hear after the short executive session, which turned out to be quite long, what the rationale was or what the thinking was behind. I'm sure Robin's going to do fabulous, but if somebody could speak to that, I thought that's what was going to happen.
Okay, I thought I made the statement, but I will open it up if other board members would like to.
I think that Kelly's statement summed it up quite well. It was a really, really difficult decision. But that each of the three candidates were fantastic, and we were lucky to have 3 people to even choose from. Yeah, but I refer to Kelly's statement.
Would you like me to read the statement again? Okay.
She's muted.
Okay. So then,
Sorry.
any of the other board members would like, if they would like to say anything before we move on.
I think she unmuted herself, so she's here with us now.
Thank you. No, I did hear that. But I guess I had a follow-up question wondering why it was that the discussions were in executive session, how that would have harmed the public to hear the discussion.
Because it's prescribed in statute. In 1 VSA 313, it's required for us to go into executive session to discuss the appointment of a public officer. At least that's how I read it.
There's a
There's
hand
a
up.
hand, Craig Miskovich.
Okay, Craig Miskovich.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't think it's required. It might have been permissible. I don't think it was wise. And I wish you would have had a public discussion about 3 really qualified candidates rather than a private discussion in which the public now has to wonder, what did you say about everybody in there that you couldn't have said in public?
What is your name?
Craig Miskovich.
Craig Miskovich.
Thank you.
And any other board members would,
Michelle has her hand up.
Michelle?
Yeah, I'll just add to that because I understand that sentiment and I said the same thing. And I think it is the interpretation of how we are perceiving why we were in executive session was just to find a consensus and to I don't actually, I said at one point that we really could have, feels like we could have been talking about this because it was just weighing out really the pros of everyone and saying nice things and then sort of straw poll. So I just wanted to be clear about that, but I hear that. And I think that I know that Kelly did her best to get legal counsel and that this was my understanding too of what was indicated. But it's sometimes it doesn't feel quite natural to not have these conversations in the public.
I will say that I did consult a number of times with the board's attorney, and I have also consulted with the VSBA, and this is part of the process that was advised by both the attorney and the VSBA. So I was following legal advice, and the Vermont School Boards Association, who we look to for many items and procedures and guidance. So.
And Emily has her hand up.
Emily?
I just want to, this kind of echoes my statements at the last meeting. I completely trust your judgment on when we need to go into executive session, Kelly. Honestly, I don't appreciate the public every single time we want to go into executive session, questioning why we're going in. They're welcome to do that, but I really want to get us as a board to focus on student learning and, the active practice of education. And I feel that we've now spent an hour and a half on amazing candidates, and we spent time last time, and it's an important topic, but we need to move on.
Yes.
So I would suggest that we move on to our next topic.
Okay. with that, we are moving on to Brattleboro representative to the SESU board. I will say that that was a topic on the last two board meetings. And so it feels like it is quite ripe to be determined to appoint someone. Would someone like to make a nomination?
I would like to nominate Tim.
Okay.
Second.
So that would have been Alana making the nomination and Anne second. All those in favor, are there any other nominations?
Right. I would nominate Robin Morgan.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Liz, I'm gonna give that to Sean. He was quicker. So are there any other nominations to the WSESU board?
Will there be time for discussion next, Kelly? I just want to ask a question clarifying.
Sure, right now. Yep.
Clarifying question is, can you remind me who all of the current representatives are?
Sure, that is Michelle, Liz, and myself.
Small. Okay, thanks.
And since Robin is a brand new member, I want to find out if that is something that Robin is interested in doing. Instead of throwing her onto it. So I don't know the proper way to do that, but I just want to make sure that both candidates are actually interested.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Tim, is that something that you would be interested in if you were elected?
Sure.
Robin, is that something that you would be interested in if you were elected to serve on the WSESU board?
If Tim's interested in doing it, I'm very happy to defer to him and very flattered by Michelle's nomination, but since I'm just getting started, I would prefer to just ease in with just being on the one board for now. Thanks.
Okay. So it sounds like Robin has removed herself from consideration, but thank you to Michelle and thank you to Sean and Liz for considering Robin. All those in favor of Tim for the WSESU board, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained?
I'll abstain.
Okay, so it sounds like we're going to do a roll call vote.
That was who abstained.
Okay, so we're going to do the roll call. So Anne.
Aye.
Tim.
Aye.
Deborah.
Aye.
Sean.
Aye.
Emily.
Aye.
Liz.
Aye.
Michelle.
Abstain.
Lana.
Aye.
Okay.
And Robin.
And Robin.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to vote because I didn't sign that paper yet, but
I think you are allowed to.
Because you've taken the oath.
Because you've taken the oath and we have you on audio, on video. So I think we're probably covered.
okay,
So-
well, I'll aye if my vote is needed or counted here.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Anne, for prompting me to remember that there is now another board member that I need to consider. So it looks like Tim is the new representative to the WSESU board. So we will move on to board vice chair. Is there a nomination for the board chair?
I would like to nominate Ann Beekman.
Okay,
Second.
so there's been a nomination by Sean and a second by Tim. Are there any other nominations for the vice chair? Okay, is there a discussion? Okay, no hands up. Okay, so we are moving on to a vote. All those in favor of Ann Beekman as the WSESD board vice chair, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Okay, so congratulations, Robin, congratulations, Tim, and congratulations, Ann.
Thank you.
Now we move on to the last, the second to the last. We're going to do public comment for 10 minutes, and then we have the very quick brief executive session at the end. So we're moving on to public comments, non-agenda items. Sean, would you mind doing a time?
I got it.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone in the public who would like to make a comment?
I'm not seeing Bethany. Oh, there. I bet there's Bethany. Bethany has a hand up.
Bethany.
Hi, thanks. Bethany Ranquist, Brattleboro. I just had a question that I was thinking about tonight when I was driving over to the meeting and then walking up to the Career Center room. That I know pre-COVID meetings were being held at all of the different area schools. And it seems like now that we're back in person, I'm just wondering why they're only held in that one semi-hard to find room at the Career Center when the representative or the representation is for all schools in the area. And I feel like the board members and the public would benefit from being able to be at the different schools that they are making decisions about. And I just wanted to maybe push for a return to that model because I think that by only meeting in that one room, you're not really getting a flavor for each of the schools. Plus, I think it makes it more accessible for people from different towns who might have transportation issues getting to the Brattleboro school might be more compelled to at least go to an occasional board meeting if they took place at different schools. So I'm wondering if there's a rationale or if y'all just kind of forgot to do it, but I'd really like to see us get back to that because it makes it more accessible to more people in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Bethany, for that question. I think that it's come up in my mind a few times. I think it's been not necessarily, I don't know that it's been talked about in board meetings, but I do recall I think the last time was at the Putney, the school in Putney, and I think there, or maybe Putney or Dummerston. Dummerston, and we had some tech challenges. So what I would suggest is maybe a question to Mark, and he might just confirm that that the schools are all tech ready. So if we were, I wouldn't want to arrive at a school and have them not quite be ready for it. And so maybe that's something that we can ask Mark to check on, if he wouldn't mind, and we can try to see if we can move back towards that. Thank you, Bethany, for your question. Sean?
Yeah, I appreciate the what Bethany brought up. However, I would like to reiterate what you just said, Kelly. The BUHS campus has the highest degree of, connectivity that there is in the district. We have this incredible smart board. And I remember very well the pain attending the Dummerston meeting. It was terrible. And I think that might be replicated in Dummerston, Putney, and Guilford. So I think that it's more important to have success for the connectivity than it is to have going to a school unless you weren't doing the video. So if we eliminated the video and went back to the way it was before, then that would be very appropriate, I think. But otherwise, I think that you go where the power is, which is at this building.
So I think, Bethany, that the further response to that is we would need to confirm whether there's the equal ability in other places. And I think in the interim, I think Zoom is a wonderful alternative so that people can at least participate in some manner. And but we can certainly put that for further thought. Thank you.
You have 4 hands up, 3 public, 1 board.
Okay, board first.
Michelle.
I would reiterate what Sean just said, and I just wanted to add that no one saw it coming. Dummerston does have a pretty good connection. They certainly have hosted Zoom classes, and if you go there, you have good access. But it was with BCTV present, they had a lot of tech issues, and it just didn't have the bandwidth that we would have thought. And I don't know that there's a way to upgrade that. So again, so long hybrid meetings are permissible through January. So as long as that stays in place, I think it's unfortunately necessary, but would be nice to rotate through the schools.
Thank you, Michelle.
Jody's next.
Jody?
Hi, me again. I just wanted to congratulate Robin. I've watched Robin as a board member in Brattleboro, and I've watched her being part of this board with Zoom. She is a wonderful addition to your board. I think your board can go ahead now and maybe start doing some education. As Emily said, I really wish you would get into education. And I also want to congratulate Tim and Ann. I've worked with Ann, and I've known Tim for a while, and they'll do an excellent job of the ones that they've taken on. So thank you all.
Thank you, Jody.
Krista.
Krista.
Sorry, I'm just unmuting. Hi there. I'm changing the topic. I just wanted to share that that a small group of parents in conjunction and collaboration with the district special education team has started developing a CPAC, which is a special education parent advisory council. And I'm super excited. And I'm really looking forward to how this evolves. It will be open, and it will be encouraged that anybody from the community participate. And if you're interested in hearing more about it, please reach out to me or Tate Erickson.
What is her name again?
That's Krista, CHRISTA or CRISTA. Sorry, Krista.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Krista, would you be able to? Oh, sorry.
Yes.
What?
Hi.
YAGJIAN.
Thank you, Paul.
Krista,
Sorry.
would you be able to email the board members about this?
Yes, I can do that.
Yeah, I'd love to attend. That's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Krista, and thank you, Lana, for asking that question.
Bethany.
Thank you. One other thing that I forgot to mention before, I appreciate the responses to my last question. If connectivity is possible, that would be great. And if not, I fully understand the reasoning behind. Other question that I had was, I just happened to note while we had the select board meeting in there that they have a sign language interpreter for their meetings available. And I'm wondering why, knowing that there are deaf and hard of hearing parents and students in the community, why we don't have that, and if that's something that could also be looked at to be put in place, because I think that that's, again, another resource that is hindering participation by members of our community who might need that. Thank you.
Thank you, Bethany. I did notice that. I'm not sure who it is that, if that's through, I'm not sure who we would need to, but maybe I can talk with Mark and we can see if we can figure that out.
We can look into that. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Thank you, Bethany, for that. Is there any other public comment? Okay, I'm going to ask one more time, public comment. Okay, so public comment has closed. We are now moving on to the very brief executive session. Get my Okay, so I move that we find that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or a person involved at a substantial disadvantage. Please note that under separate motion, we would be entering executive session under 1 VSA 313A1E, pending or probable civil litigation or a prosecution to which the public body is or may be a party. Is there a second to my motion to find that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or person involved at a substantial disadvantage?
Second.
Thank you, Anne. So Tim, that was me and that was Anne. All those in favor of that finding, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Okay, thank you very much. We move on to the actual motion. I move that we enter executive session under 1 VSA 313A1E, pending or probable civil litigation or prosecution to which the public body is or may be a party, and invite in Mark Spino. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Deborah. So Tim, that was me and that was Deborah. All those in favor of entering executive session as indicated, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Okay, and I will say that there is no anticipated action to be taken. So if people would like to wait until we are done, then they can certainly do that, but I don't anticipate there will be any action. Okay, so we are in executive session at 7:53. Thank you, everyone. We are out of executive session at 8:30.
I'm not.
It's not. Yeah.
So
We're up. Madam Chair, there being no further business before this board, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
thank you, Anne, and thank you, Liz. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Okay, thank you very much. We are adjourned at 8:31.